Hey everyone, it's Kristen, and I wanted to do a walkthrough of my Spirit Keepers Tarot Magical Playbook. So first, you may be wondering what is Spirit Keepers Tarot, and you may also be wondering what the heck is a magical playbook. The Spirit Keepers Tarot is a deck that came out this year, 2018, by Benebell Wen, and it's a deck that it covers so many different aspects of divinity. There's so many layers to this deck. She also, in addition to doing the deck, she also wrote a guidebook for it called the Book of Maps. It's over 400 pages. Plus there is a little white book that is, if you print it out on full-size paper, I think it's about 50 pages. So there's so much to this. It really is a whole system, a whole divination system. And I thought that it deserved an entire magical playbook. So now let's talk about the magical playbook. This year I created a concept called magical playbook, which is really an interactive grimoire. So on each page of the magical playbook, you can interact with the page in some way as opposed to just reading information on it. I have a class called Make This Magical Playbook where I go through a bunch of different pages to give you ideas of some things that you can make for your magical playbook. And since I made my original magical playbook, I've made quite a few others. So I thought this deck and book and system really deserved its own magical playbook. So I wanted to give you kind of a quick walkthrough of it. Now, I'm not going to have the time to go through all of the details about what this image is about or what this page might be about. So I do, well, I just want to say Benebell has very graciously allowed me to share my digital files that I used to create this with the students in my Make This Magical Playbook class. So I do have a separate section with that information. So if you have any questions about, how I created some of these pages or how I use them, feel free to ask in our Make This Magical Playbook Facebook group once you enroll in the class. So now I just want to take you through it just so you have a visual of what I did, and I'll give you kind of a sense of how what I intend to do with the pages, but sometimes I don't necessarily know what I want to do with them exactly yet. I haven't really used the playbook yet because I wanted to create everything first, just based on my preliminary reading of the book and just going through everything with the cards, just looking at the cards. But I haven't really dived into too much with the deck or the cards. I really wanted my playbook, my magical playbook, to be kind of my entryway into studying this. The system has a lot of depth. So I just really wanted to use the magical playbook as a way to study this. For me, I was really looking for a way to connect more with God. And this is a religious deck. So I do want to be clear about that. Covers angelology, a lot of different really religious divinity-based systems. And so for me, it is a way to connect with divinity, to connect with God. And so that's what I'm going to be I need you to have that kind of understanding as you look at some of these things, because if you're not familiar with her deck, then some of this may not make sense to you as to why it's in here. So there's a lot of talk about angels and deities and things like that. So let's take a look at my Spirit Keepers Tarot Magical Playbook. This is the cover, which is laminated. When you open up the cover, I added this Merkaba star. This is one of the images. So what you'll see with a lot of these pages, these are images from Benebell. When you ordered her deck, if you ordered the digital files, which I did, you can download so many digital files, which makes it very easy to create, your own kind of products or things that you might want to create with her images. And then some of the things that I put into my magical playbook are not related to her system. They're just things that I thought would work well with this playbook and kind of what I'm working with, the energies and the themes that I'm working with this playbook. So this is a magic spinner. I'm just doing a little adjustment here. Sometimes when it sets on the page, you have to do a little adjustment. And so this is a vice or virtue spinner. Like I said, I'm not going to go into spinner, how to use it, all of that stuff, how to make your own spinner. All of that is in my class, Make This Magical Playbook. I use just regular cardstock for some separators to separate different sections, just colors. And then I used just a little bit of washi tape on the edges just so I can see it clearly from the edges. This particular page is an image of her, again, this is from Benebell. It's an image of her altar, and I thought it was such a beautiful page. I use it as a casting page, and also a scrying page. I can just put my hand over here and figure out what do I need to focus on today. Okay, and it looks like I've got the white candle, so that would have a representation or meaning for me. I also use poppets. Make This Magical Playbook. I have a bonus lesson on poppets, how to make them, how to use them. And one of the ways that I use them is for casting. So you can actually toss the poppet onto the page, and sometimes she'll point to something, or she'll let you know what to work on just by pointing, or sometimes looking in a certain direction. And then this next section is really just information from the book. Benebell talks about ritual coloring of the deck or of the cards. And then again, this is one of the underlying systems of the deck is the 72 angels of God. And so this just gives you a quick reference to those. And I printed out some extra reference information on those angels as well. And then this section, this whole section that we're going to look at right now, it really covers the court cards, which I just love. Those are probably my favorite cards out of the deck. I just like how they've been used and kind of personified as different deities and angels. And so the kings are all different archangels. I don't necessarily have a particular way that I plan to use these archangel pages, but I did create a poppet for each one. So I'll just show you the poppets that I made. The Archangel of Mysteries. And for me, the poppets help me to make the thing more real, so it helps me to bring the Archangel of Mysteries to make it more realistic to me. This is like a doll. It's just like playing with dolls. It kind of is this is working with poppet magic, but you're taking that doll and you can pose it in different environments and in that way create magic. You're creating whatever it is that you want, or that you wish to happen, for example. So for me, making these into poppets makes it easier for me to see how to do that. And so this is the poppet that I made. It also helps me to get a visual, my own visual. It helps me to be clear about how I would personify the energy of the Archangel of Mysteries. The next one is the Archangel of Glory. And this is how I designed the Archangel of Glory. I'm just going to kind of step through these pretty quickly. The Archangel of Healing is this angel poppet. And the last archangel in the kings, representing the kings, is the Archangel Commander. And this is my personification of that angel. Next, we have the Queen cards. And the Queen cards in her system are shield cards. And so this one is the Golden Shield. And I really, really love the shield cards. I was really taken with the shields. And I thought they would make really great talismans. And so you can take the shields and actually remove them and think of them like an actual shield. Now I'm holding the power of this shield, and I could use that in some sort of magical working. And so all of this one is the Scarlet Shield. All of these are removable. The Ivory Shield. And the Ebony Shield. And then the next page are representing the knights. So these are the shining cards. And I did kind of the same thing. I just used the emblem. These represent elemental energy. So just thinking about imbuing certain elemental energies. And these, again, come off. And I can use them in different magical ways as talismans or to bring in that particular energy, like the element of fire or the element of water. These next four are the pages in the deck, and they're called strongholds. So you'll see that these are pages in the card. She has drawn an envelope for all of these. And what I did was I made an actual envelope for each of these that can be opened. You can put a petition in there. The pages in this system are messengers. They're messengers that send messages to Spirit. I think also bringing messages back from Spirit as well. So I thought about these envelopes as, a literal place where you could put a petition. I also made a little tiny deck for this purpose. This is just the aces through the tens, but my thought was using the card and putting the card in the envelope, perhaps with a petition or a request or message. This one is the Six of Chalices, the Memory Keeper. So there could be a message that you're writing about a memory, maybe to feel forgiveness or contentment with a past memory. And you put it in here, close it up, and you're essentially giving it to the stronghold of the Zephyrs. And it depends on what they're overseeing. This page represents swords, so intellect and thought, and maybe also active thought, putting your thoughts into action. So here are the rest of the envelopes. And then that concludes the quartz. With this is I'll show you in the book. some of these are not cards. So, you know, she has a whole bunch of just extra references and resources for you. This is the personification of annealing, which is means to strengthen, to temper, to make malleable that which was too rigid or unyielding. And so my thought for this is that it is a magical space. Whatever you put on this symbol will become tempered or more malleable. This section, we're entering my altar. And this is just to show you on 2 pages. But the way that it works is you would actually set it up this way. So this would be sitting up. This is on the bottom, and you could take the deck and maybe do a reading here. For this part of the page, my thought was to actually take those talismans, those parts from the court cards, and you can actually add them directly to the page. Maybe put a shield here that would help you to achieve the strength that you need for a particular magical working. Anything in the bowl would be an offering or something that you want to mix together. Maybe you want to mix 2 elements together, and you could put the emblems representing those in the bowl. So those are just some of the ideas I have. I haven't played with it too much, but this is the altar. And then this page is what I call a pop-it playground. I do have these in really pretty much all of my magical playbooks, and I have a whole magical playbook just of pop-it playgrounds. And the way that I use this is I will take my pop-it, and it's a place where I meet and have a discussion and pep talks or whatever with my angels. And I might put an angel next to my pop-it. And this gives me a visual of us sitting together and having a conversation. Maybe I need a pep talk. Maybe I need some encouragement. So what I do is I just pose them like this. Sometimes I will pose them with them giving me a hug or you know, some encouraging, loving pose. And I imagine that we're sitting on this bench and we're having a conversation and we're talking about whatever it is that we need to discuss. So what I'll do a lot of times is set this up at night. I'll leave this page open and then I go to sleep. And we have our conversations in dream time. And when I wake up, I feel a lot better. I feel like I have actually had a pep talk or motivational talk with my angels. So what I did was, this is a different angel. You'll notice I made a pop-it for every single ruling angel that is mentioned in the Book of Maps. So I have lots of angel pop-its. And so this is, again, a pop-it playground. And this concludes part 1. I'll go through the rest of my Spirit Keepers Magical Playbook in part 2.